The Lunch with Books. My name is Sean. Next week, first of all, I should mention last week. The reason he didn't make it was an illness. His wife is ill, and that's all I'm going to say about it. That's the reason. I have scheduled a similar program for next July. That's how far I had to schedule it. But it will cover Wheeling Island and other locations in the valley regarding prehistoric remains. And it'll be Hank Lutton at the Mound Museum. If you have a cell phone, now would be the time to turn it off. And I just wanted to mention that we still have for sale, this one has a big dent in it, so we're not selling that one. But these are the Lunch with Books lunchbox. Somebody wants this one, I'll leave it here. Feel free to take it. Free to a good home. And we have the Eastman Clayworks mugs, which are really high quality. And we have those for sale. We have forms on your table if you'd like to pre-order one. We're thinking of buying another batch. Next week, we will continue our Native American Heritage Month programming with it's called Settling Ohio, First Peoples and Beyond. Timothy Anderson is the editor. And the week after that, Extinction and the Human, Timothy Sweet, who's a WVU professor. Those are the next two programs. Today we have back with us, as you can see, our old friend, Dr. David Javersak. And this time he has brought with him a special guest, whom I will allow Dr. Javersak to introduce. So let me introduce David first. David Javersak.
This is our granddaughter, Tesla, and she wants to.
Hello. I'm Tesla, and thank you for coming to Books with Lunch. Today we're going to be reading and talking about our new book, and Lines and Other Lines.
The book is shown up there, and I'm sorry, I'm not good with that. That cover came from that piece of paper. Okay. And if you go to the next, the inside cover is Tesla's art. Oh, Tesla did this too. She's done all the art in here. But the second page where it says poem book, I know you can't see it, but down in the corner is her signature, Tesla J. And she also did the artwork on the other side. That came from these two little sheets of paper. The reason is because of this gentleman right here, John McMahon, from Design for Print in Barnesville, Ohio. He's done the book, and a public thank you to you and all your good work. Now, I know you can't read that, but this book has a dedication. And the book is dedicated to Alice Ann Javersak, or as we know her,
Grandma Alice.
Okay, we're going to read some poems from our book. And, you know, we're not going to read all of them because we have some for sale. Not that I'm trying to sell them to you, but I'm going, we'll take all the money you have. Now, my wife wanted one this morning, and I gave her this Yeah, she only had to pay, I gave her, yeah, I can tell you this. Okay, so we're going to start with Tesla's poetry. And again, I don't know if that's blurry to me. Oh, it's not as blurry. She's going to start with those two poems on the left.
Tesla, would you mind standing up here so I can get you in?
Just so that you know, Tesla's a seasoned veteran. She's almost 12.
Okay, so the first one is called Nature. So the calm, wet pond looked idyllic in the resplendent sun, casting a soft glow on the water. The tree was umbriferous over the land, making the animals cool on the hottest days of summer. The ants were taking crumbs, going wanderless, and the wind moved wistfully across the treetops, over the mountains, and up into the sky. Okay, so the second one is called Summer. The cool summer breeze, the trees swaying in the wind, and the birds chirping.
Poems can be any size. 2 lines, limericks, it can be 3 lines, they can be as long as the Iliad. I'm going to start with 2 poems. And the first one that I'm going to present to you is called Mom and Dinosaurs. It's about my mother, okay? But it's also about something else. You can't help but look at the news today and see people will believe almost anything or not believe in almost anything. Mom and Dinosaurs. A tale of belief or disbelief. Rather, a remembrance of my mother, a church lady, a deacon, Sunday school teacher, a woman for whom the church's narthex at Maine and Lee is named. Mom read widely, books of all types, poetry, mysteries, Harvard classics, Encyclopedia Britannica, devotionals, spiritual tomes. She excelled at public speaking, and she served as president of every PTA of every school attended by her sons. She was formidable, yet demure. What my childhood buddies called ladylike. She held strong beliefs and a few silly ones. Dinosaurs in her world did not exist. Never. Ever. At Pittsburgh's Carnegie, she refused to enter exhibits featuring the bones of Brontosaurus, T-Rex, and Triceratops. There's no mention of dinosaurs in Genesis chapter 7. Only clean beasts, beasts that are not clean, fowls and everything that creepeth upon the earth. So Mom could not enter the room with skeletons of animals which never lived. She could not look at something which to her mind did not exist. Her Bible knows this verse, know the truth. But certain truths can be so inconvenient, so threatening, and for many, and my mom, they can't handle the truth. The next one is called Gospel According to Matthew, and sitting right back there in the middle with the glasses that Grandma Alice is pointing to is one of the Matthews. It's my older brother, my distinguished older brother. He's come down from Weird. Now you would think he'd come down just to support me because I'm reading poetry. He's coming down because I told him to take him to lunch. Now, this poem is a poem that is patterned after one of my favorite poems. It's called The History of the Hat by Billy Collins. And what it does is it begins in one place and ends really someplace else. You're going to think, which Matthews are we talking about? Grandfather was a Matthew, a Croatian immigrant who sailed from Hamburg to a new world when only a teen. He taught lessons of hard work, determination, gritty perseverance, and the importance of family. Of his 6 sons, but not the firstborn, was another man, my father. He taught by example, not words, a loving husband, a supporting father, a helpful neighbor, a responsible citizen. He cared much, loved deeply, and laughed and played like a child. My brother is a Matthew, the third. He spreads the gospel, good works, good deeds, goodwill. I bear an Old Testament name, David, he who wrote the Psalms and stood up to Goliath. Matthew is biblical, but from the New Testament, the author of the first gospel. And his words mean as much, maybe more, than those from a grandfather, a father, or a brother, or from a mother who married a Matthew and who named her firstborn Matthew. She knew her Bible. She tried to live by its teachings. And as she faced her final earthly chapter, she found comfort in the Matthew gospel. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavily burdened, and I will give you rest. And guess who's next?
So this poem I wrote for my parents for Valentine's Day. It was supposed to go on a card, and it's called "I Love You More." I love you more than Hershey bars or candy canes so young. I love you more than crummy tarts or sticky bubble gum. I love you more than graham crackers and cake pops so sweet. I love you more than marshmallows that taste like yummy Peeps.
And you can see the little drawing that's on there. Now, the way this book is done, there are 3 sections. There are no pages. The poems are listed under end lines, other lines, or newer lines. You just heard something from newer lines. The book originally was entitled End Lines and Other Words, until we read her poem, which you will hear at the end, in Grandparents' Day in May this year. So we decided that we had to put it someplace, and this is where we put it. So we changed the titles. And because I had already selected this for the cover, we thought that anything ending in lines would work pretty well. Well, the end lines are just that. They are all about endings. Endings of individuals. You know, they're all about, okay. Some of it started when I was, and that's mentioned in the text. When I was about 69, I remember sitting on my front porch, and for some reason I had a notepad there, and I started doing some stuff. And because I thought, wait a minute, I'm getting close to 70. Wait a minute, I remember hearing 70. Yeah, I'm getting close. So we did some of those. And some of the poems are very short. Some of them are about why when we got a newspaper, we went to the obituaries first. There's a poem in here about why historians can't write obituaries. And basically because obituary writers lie and historians tell the truth. That's the way I was taught. But I want to read just two. And the first one is called Cost of War. And it's very difficult for you to see. But if you look closely, you will see that there is an individual. And that's my Uncle Victor. It comes from this little man knows what he's doing. I mean, he can do stuff. Several years ago, we did a presentation here about World War II. And one of the things that I talked about was my Uncle Victor and my Uncle Harm. Well, Uncle Victor is a different story. And so after that presentation, that's when I sat down and tried to write this. And this is called Cost of War. And for those of you who think war is romantic, that war is fun, these two poems I hope will disabuse you of those views. Uncle Vic was kind, bashful, shy, uncertain. He was unskilled at mechanical things and workaday things. He never drove a car or a truck. He never operated the tractor on a family farm. He toiled in the fields. He helped put up the hay. He directed the cows to their milking. He never earned a wage. He never had a girlfriend. He never had a wife. He left home only once in his 76 years to fight for the USA in World War II. No person was so unready to be in the outside world. Please let him stay on the farm, the family pleaded. Let an older brother take his place. Selective service thought otherwise. So the unsure, gentle person went off to war, left the Ohio farm for the jungles of Burma, in something called the Signal. He returned to the farm on Ohio State Route 39 before VJ Day, with shrapnel wounds to the head and something doctors call shell shock. His first stop was not the farm, but a hospital for vets in Cambridge, where physicians treated his wounds, both physical and mental. But some wounds never healed. His head and neck twisted to one side, and he remained that way as his dark hair turned gray and then white. In his final repose, draped with the flag under which he served, his head remained askew. Once back home, the nightmares and the blood-chilling screams slowly abated. His voice, damaged by enemy fire, never returned to its pre-war lilt. A squeaky, raspy sound emanated from his lips for 50 years. Back to the farm, and to his immigrant parents and his 3 older brothers. But when they all passed away, he was alone on the farm. A younger sister, who once protected him on the Weirton playgrounds, took him in to her Michigan home. He bore the physical and mental scars of war for 5 long decades. Then, on a beautiful May day, under a blue sky and fluffy clouds, he was laid to rest with the honors he earned in service to his country. He rests near his mother and father and 2 older brothers at St. Patrick's Cemetery in Salineville, Ohio. A life shattered by man's inhumanity to man. A life remembered by only a few nieces and nephews who now in their last years remember and cherish the memories of Uncle Vic. Another soldier, another war. For years, we would travel down Route 77 and cross over the bridge over the Monongahela River just before you get onto 68 and go east. And there's a bridge there, and it's dedicated to a guy by the name of Thomas W. Bennett. And the longer we went over that, I said, who is this guy? He said he won a Congressional Medal of Honor. So I looked him up. And after I looked him up, and over a period of months, if not years, I wrote this. It's called Corporal. He had his rendezvous with death deep in the jungles of Vietnam, Pleiku Province, February 11th, 1969. A place where so many young Americans fought and died in another unnecessary war. Thomas W. Bennett opposed this war. He stood against all wars. He was a conscientious objector. He never carried a gun in combat or in training. A classmate at West Virginia University called him the peaceful patriot. A letter to his parents made his position so clear. God help a world where ordinary young men must become trained killers. He opposed this war in Nam, yet he volunteered to serve, not as a soldier, but as a medic. He carried a medical bag, not a gun. As he tended to his wounded comrades, an enemy bullet took his life. War blinds its participants. How could an enemy know that the man he killed was a man of peace, a man who hated war, a man who loved his neighbor? An officer ordered him not to go to the aid of his brothers. He disobeyed, and he made the ultimate sacrifice. His brothers wept. The army recommended its highest honor, and a president gave a Medal of Honor to a grieving mother. A brave West Virginian, a gallant, unarmed soldier, a man of bravery and courage, a patriot of the first rank, a humble man who loved God and all God's creatures, a man whose actions on that February day rose higher than the mountains of his home state. Corporal Thomas W. Bennett, dead at the age of 21. Now you know why these are called in-laws. Okay. Now, something more positive. This is the poem when we read it, we thought there has to be an audience for it. And I will point out some things before Tessa begins. She has some of her drawings. You may not be able to see it. This is an old white guy with sunglasses. This is Brian, the father. This is Tessa. This is Julie, the mother. These are the 2 dogs. That, of course, is another white-haired old guy. And that is my house. And this is I Am From.
also wrote this one in school last year. Okay, so I'm from music, filling my ears, singing a soft melody, playing piano. My fingers flying, my drums beating, my viola making noise. I'm from animals, the fur on cats, the cuddly dogs, swimming fish, neighing horses, and hungry pigs. I'm from learning, reading pages of books full of mischief, learning math from my dad, figuring out the secrets of the world. I'm from nature, the cloak of fog surrounding me, the cool, damp, dewy grass swaying in the wind, the summer breeze that makes me feel giddy and bright, the cool darkness that comes every night. I'm from family that comforts me during storms. My family is kind, caring, and warm. My family is neat. My family is sweet. But most of all, my family loves me.
I'm going to have a change of plans here for a second. There's a gentleman sitting back here, Mr. Bachmine, who's going to celebrate a birthday in 2, right? Next Monday. Birthday number 98. But he has some limericks. Yes, he does. Limericks. Mr. Ryan, limericks.
On Monday, I'll be 98. No vertigo. Isn't that great? Feeling just fine. Nice glass of wine and good healthy food on my quite imperfect life. Mistakes that made the world. So I wonder, now I'm old, what future lies in store. I approach those early gates, repentant and contrite. Pure young people like me, how many mistakes are on the rest of the girl from Woodsdale, tattooed the price of the tail. Mistake of the line, the same information in bright.
Donald is a very unique character. His career goes back to the old Weird Steel bulletins. I first ran across his name in a bulletin from 1955. So he's a remarkable character. Now, just to prove to you that poems all don't have to be serious, and I don't write all serious poems. I want to read you one. Okay. This is called Doggerel. Doggerel. John, do you think about presentation? And I still haven't found it. What do you want? I'm sorry. I wasn't going to read this. There it is. Doggerel. This poem is based upon using different words in, okay. A family vacation with kids and grandkids on the shores of the Outer Banks. It was a whale of a time. We made some new friends, and we never met an enemy. I told all my friends and neighbors every detail. They grew bored and got so crabby. Clam up, they said. floundered for a retort. So on purpose, I repeated my tale just for the house. Here shows you what kind of light. And it's called hell. David, you would, she's probably gonna read this, you know. Older couples long married use about their chapter endings. The church send off, wait, food, drinks, and laughter. A plot on some shady knoll, or the marble wall like a mom and dad. I say ashes to ashes for me. Where should I scatter them, she asked. Somewhere warm, maybe Antigua. Don't worry, she smiled. Wherever you'll R.I.P., it'll be real, real, really. I'm going to read you the first poem I wrote. And it's called A Sure Sign of It. You do all of that. The evening paper arrives on the front porch with a thud. I turn first, not to the sports page to see who's playing, but to the obituary to see who's out of the game. Now, the reason that the poem was written, we had a man by the name of Kevin who would come down Walnut Avenue in his pickup truck. And from the not from the passenger seat, from the driver's seat, coming across the passenger seat, he would throw the newspaper out the window. It would come up 10 stairs to get to our front porch, and it would. We never saw him miss. It would land, and that's the. Okay, that's all I'm going to read because, you know, this book is for sick. Some of you are get charged a little extra. Now, do you have any questions or comments? Yeah.
Would you like to be a writer?
Probably,
Yes. Would you like to read?
She can read. She can sing. She can act. She can play the viola. She can play piano. She's strummed the ukulele. She's ridden horses. She will be in Symphony on Ice, skater. She's done gymnastics. She's done dance. Right? She's made pottery. She tinkers with electronics. She can swim very well. Oh, she's a Girl Scout. She can, yeah. She's what we would call that. And
So when does she have time to write?
well, you know, she has her own poem. That's where this came from. She has a book of poems. When she does things, she doesn't just send this is a standard thing. Okay. was, this is called Pat. You know, Pat Town, Fix and Shop. And, now, look, please, I don't know where she gets all this from. Because I know her parents. This is a happy birthday. And she was like cake. And they ball. So that I think goes to explain things like how she does all this stuff.
And you're not.
But, yeah. You know, Jennifer and Brian. Yeah. She's not our daughter. He's not our son.
It's another phone.
Wait a minute. Garrett and Grace came in the last century. David and Ann, they were the joyous 21st century. Now, Tessa Joel is the newest of the group. These five, Grandma and Papa, we're the magnificent natural allies against any and all, sometimes even their parents. Alice loves babies. A baby cannot be walked anywhere, seen anywhere that Alice doesn't stop. Oh, what a cute baby. Oh, it's the best baby I've ever seen. It's so sweet. So, she's more than Jane. So as spring came, her mother's walking her because if you know Julie, she doesn't sit still. I'm amazed that she's doing it for half hour. So she's walking the baby. We walk. I'll stop. Oh, and the next time she says, "Oh, it's a cute." Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Oh, look, you need a babysitter. So next thing I know, we got a plate pen and with pack and play and diapers and stuff. And so she starts to talk. And Julie said, she called me. How can you care? She said, would your kids be upset if she told me grandpa? He said, "No." So here is our granddaughter. And they've adopted us, and we've adopted them. And this is part of them. We've gone on vacations together, and dinners together, and it's just the way it is. But it does surprise people sometimes because they will think, she really. Okay, any other? Yes. Right, okay. This is our show. Bob is just a wonderful character. You're like a hero. I would hope to be able to do what she has done. A great career in weirdly and golfing still. You know, it's still golfing. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I have a statement. So that he's the best papa in the world.
Well, yeah, there's certain things I might argue. I have a little thing in here. Too much. Yeah.
Bad word.
So Julie comes into a safety time or something. She said, "Well, off." She said, "Your daughter, you can work there and stuff." And Julie says, "Well, we." I have a little thing in the back about one of the homes that's in here. And it says this: if you're lucky enough to be blessed with grandchildren, then I need not explain joy and happiness. They are the best thing about golden years. Really, the very best. Okay, so there are no more questions. We have some books. Sam, did I mention that? And then we will, yes, ma'am.
Well, I have a question. Do you have brothers or sisters?
No.
You are the star. Yeah, she is. She is. Two dollars. I got a question, Justin. Dad ever taken you to be like?
Oh, we didn't make it.
Well,
Was
no,
that?
but we did know.
She's traveled more than this. She'll be in Aruba, Galapagos, March. She's been to England, Ireland. We've sailed twice in the Caribbean. Okay, thank you very much.